What is good, everybody? I hope you guys all had an amazing weekend. Hope you guys had an amazing Labor Day. Thank you guys for listening. This is episode 12 of Tune Check, and this episode is really just going to be about a few quick updates, nothing too crazy. Like, I don't want to really focus on too many singles because some of the singles that came out was kind of trash. There's some EPs that dropped and some mixtapes, but I sort of want to wait until the next episode to talk about them just in case there's any lack of content or like any albums don't drop or anything gets pushed back because I haven't really heard or seen anything on socials or on the internet about anything major dropping next week. But like I said, this episode is going to be really short. It's not going to be nothing too crazy, just a couple news updates. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about Travis Scott. His project Days Before Rodeo is officially the #1 best-selling hip-hop album this year. And it also turns out to be the biggest debut of this year. Just like we said last episode, shout out to Travis Scott. He's doing his thing and I think it's great. And I think he's still on tour. His tour's about to end, not too sure. But shout out to him. He's been doing really, really good. The thing that sucks is that this always happens to him. Like he's always getting snubbed. And I think it's fucking ridiculous. Like I don't know why all these artists that do deserve awards or are entitled to one, and we all know that he's entitled to at least like a win, you know what I'm saying? But for some reason they just don't want to give it to him. So he was competing with Sabrina Carpenter, a pop singer. She released an album. They were both competing for the #1 spot on this week's Billboard. And Travis Scott had a lead of 11K sales, sold copies and everything. People are saying it's because of Labor Day that they delayed the Billboard results, but I really don't think that's the case. So Days Before Rodeo ended up debuting at #2 when it was actually supposed to be #1. Like the whole scenario was kind of weird. A lot of fans on social media were talking about this and they were really upset and were saying that, hey, like, he's always getting snubbed. He's always taking an L. He's never coming #1. It's ridiculous. They were speaking about how Billboard delayed the results. Like, as soon as they saw that he was in the lead, they delayed it. And then next thing you know, she's #1 and has like 1,000 more units sold, and then she just randomly generates all these other sales within like the next couple of hours. Like it's kind of weird how it played out, and it's like really bad on her part too because she was really about to lose to a project that came out 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like how I said on my last episode that a lot of these older works, older songs are like constantly played and hailed as like really, really good from a few years ago because music right now is kind of, a little ass. Kind of hate to say that, but it's true. So that kind of sucks, and that would have been a really bad L for her, and I guess would have been a bad look for Billboard too. Maybe I'm not too sure. I don't know what happened. Maybe like her team bought extra copies, or they just used like bots or something, but we don't really know. But Travis definitely was the one that was supposed to get the #1, and to even like make this seem weirder than what it is, and to show that Travis was really supposed to be #1, Billboard even posted up something on social media that says the top selling albums this week. And Travis Scott was #1, and then Sabrina Carpenter was #2. So I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense, Like, why would you put him #1 there, but then on the actual chart, he's #2? So that kind of just doesn't help their case. And it really shows that people are just out to not make him get a W. And it's ridiculous. After everything that he's contributed to music, and how big of an artist he is and how big his name is, it's crazy. Aside from all that, negativity and everything, Travis Scott stated that during his tour stops, he's been in album mode the entire time and he's been creating new music. So I think that's dope. That's very exciting. I know his fans are happy, so I'm looking forward to see what he's gonna drop. I thought Utopia was like one of the best albums of last year because it was amazing. I'm not the biggest Travis Scott fan, but that album was really, really good. Hopefully he releases something soon. I feel like if he does, it might be like towards November, December, but we'll see. Travis was also teasing a collab with Future because Future's dropping. He's dropping a mixtape. He posted up mixtape Pluto. I don't know if that's the name of the mixtape or if that's just the vibe he's gonna give. But he posted that up and they both been teasing a collab, and then Future even put up like a preview to one of his songs. And then he also put up a pre-order link for the music on streaming services. So I think it's dropping really soon. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a surprise release like in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I'm excited, I love Future. I think he's dope. I didn't really like We Don't Trust You, but I did love We Still Don't Trust You. But I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. I'm excited to see who he got on it. Like I already know he's gonna come with some songs that, he's gonna repeat a lot of the shit that he says. But it's okay, you know what I'm saying? And then speaking on new music, The Weeknd he revealed the title of his new album. So it's gonna be called Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's the third installment, of his current trilogy. I know I kind of just said that twice and it sounds kind of funny, but it is what it is. I personally think that the name is kind of whack because After Hours I like that title. It was pretty cool. Dawn FM was really creative, like the title. Then Hurry Up Tomorrow, it kind of sounds like a movie or like a play or something. I don't know, maybe that's the vibe he's gonna give, or maybe it's just me. I know like he released like a little like trailer explaining stuff, and the words that stuck out to me from the whole thing was screams and silence. I thought that was gonna be the title, but then I forgot that he's trying to make it like, the theme of it is like, after hours, dawn femme, like, night, morning, then tomorrow, which makes sense, but I just feel like he probably should have named it something else that has to do with the next day, but we'll see. Or maybe even call it the next day. Like that sounds more mysterious and suspicious, like how he used to be. But and this is the last weekend album. He said before that he's gonna kill the weekend off and that he's gonna make music under his name Abel. So I want to see how he goes about that. I want to see what he talks about, what he sings about, the concepts and everything. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's great. I don't want to be let down. I didn't really like After Hours too much. Everything after Starboy was kind of Dawn FM was pretty cool. I don't want to get my hopes up a little bit, but let's see what happens. Then next we got some news regarding Tizo Touchdown. So Billboard named him their R&B and hip hop rookie of the year. I don't really think that fits because I always thought he made like alternative music. I didn't really see him as a like a rapper or like a R&B singer, but I don't know. Maybe it's because he's been featured on a lot of rap songs and R&B songs, but I don't really agree with that a little bit. I find that kind of weird, like this is like another thing that Billboard's done that's weird recently, aside from the Travis Scott thing. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't know. It doesn't really sit well with me. I feel like there's other artists that deserve that title from them because I haven't really heard too much of Tizo like this entire time. Like, yeah, he's been on a few songs, but that was like towards the end of last year. I haven't really heard him on anything new recently. So, and then next, this is in regards to Billboard too, in a way. So, Megan Thee Stallion, she had an interview with Billboard a few days ago. She was asked a few questions, and there were some questions that stuck out to a lot of fans where, people on social media and the internet were talking about. So, one of the questions was about competitive rap. And honestly, I think the people who read this article or just read the headline are completely wrong. And you guys got to read it again. So a lot of people were saying that, oh, she didn't start competitive rap, she didn't start that wave, she's not the originator, this and that. But that's not what it said. That's not what she was saying. She didn't answer and say that. She just said that she addressed whatever was on her mind, in her song Hiss, and that's about it. She didn't say that she started it, that she was, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people just ran with that story after reading the headline and it was kind of weird. This was in regards to her pretty much saying that she feels like she sparked like a lot of rap beefs this year. And I agree because, she was the first artist this year to come out with a diss track to diss Nicki and everything. And I agree. I think because of that track, a lot of other artists were beefing and they started doing diss tracks left and right, like, Drake and Kendrick. The most memorable one of this year and the one that's probably going to be one of the greatest, rap wars ever. And then, we got like a lot of shit from Ice Spice and Lotto. Then there's like a few other artists that had issues this year. Like even 50 Cent and Designer just got into like a little issue like a couple days ago. Designer released a whole diss track on 50 Cent. Like it don't make no sense, you know what I'm saying? Like even Chris Brown and Quavo got into it. So yeah, I kind of agree that she did spark that fuse and it blew up into something bigger. Then they also asked her about Nicki Minaj, what the issue is, and Megan was like to this day that she does not know what the problem is. And I feel like that's cap because I feel like there's been multiple times where Nicki Minaj has stated that and said what the issue was even before like she released her diss track towards her. And I was on the internet and Instagram and Twitter and all that, and I was reading stuff about like the fans and everything. They were all saying that we all saw what happened. You were on live the entire time or something. Everybody knows, like, you don't have to lie. And I feel like she is lying because this was said multiple times, but she just doesn't want to believe it, or maybe she's just being very, like, ignorant about it, I guess. Not too sure. It doesn't help in regards to her getting a number one off Nicki Minaj. So you're just gonna tell me you just dissed her randomly? You know what I'm saying? Like either way that you look at it, she got a number one from Nicki, but this doesn't help her side too much, you know? But speaking about Young Money, we have some news regarding Drake. So Tony Yayo said that he got a deal from Spencer's so they could sell the free Yayo shirt due to Drake wearing it. So if you know, Drake wore it a few like months ago, weeks ago on on his social media. He posted a picture, and this was around the time when Schoolboy Q was having his issue with Drake and not being able to perform in Toronto or in Canada in general. They canceled his show. It turned out that Drake was a partial owner of that arena. They don't want anybody from TDE performing. This is after the whole Not Like Us thing video released and the song and everything. Even Sir got his show canceled. But that shirt that he wore, it was like a gray shirt with, white letters. It was first worn by Eminem in 2003. That's when it was popularized. So it turns out that that's the shirt that they're going to sell in Spencer's. Tony A was pretty much saying how Drake, initiated that and because he wore it. So I think he was just congratulating him. I mean, I wouldn't mind a free bag either. Like that's legit a free bag that you just got. So, shout out to Tony. Shout out to Drake for doing that unintentionally, I guess. Then more news regarding Drake. So, he basically just got dissed by ASAP Rocky again for like the second time recently. I feel like ASAP is probably just gonna diss Drake on a lot of records. I don't even know why he's doing it. Like Drake already ate you up with just that one bar on Family Matters. I don't know why you keep going back. ASAP Rocky released a song called Ruby Rosary. It features J. Cole. The only person that dissed Drake on this song was ASAP Rocky. So don't say it was J. Cole. Don't say nothing about J. Cole. J. Cole ain't do nothing. He's still neutral to everything. So leave J. Cole out of this. Leave him alone. ASAP Rocky pretty much says, like, who dared me to die? You a dead man walking. You barely alive. Barely alive. It's pretty much connected to the intro that Kendrick made for Drake on Take Care and the one that Drake made a parody for recently when he was dissing Kendrick before he released Family Matters. Then the next line goes, cut everything but the family ties. Kendrick and Baby Keem have a song called Family Ties. Then ASAP continues to say, cut the shit, cut the lies, word to the wise, who in your top five? Then he says, haha, fuck your top five. I don't get fresh to death, bitch, I'm buried alive. Still referencing the song from before. I heard Dog talking funny like his Family Guy. Dog, Drake released an album called For All the Dogs. Kendrick Lamar had a bar for Drake on Like That, talking about Pet Cemetery. ASAP also says something about Push Ups, which is a song that Drake released, dissing ASAP, Rose, Future, fucking Kendrick, and all that. Then he's kind of like hinting that Drake lost the battle. Rocky just had a interview, I think, like a week or two ago that I spoke about previously on my last episode. I think he said that he doesn't really care, but it seems like you kind of do care. And I feel like he knows that if he keeps dissing Drake, he's gonna get a number one or his streams are gonna go up because it happened for everybody. Happened for Rocky. His streams went up. Rick Ross had the most streams that he's ever had when he dropped his Drake diss track. Like that went number one because they dissed Drake. Then both albums did really good too. The ones from Metro and Future because they kept mentioning Drake. Like they know what they're doing. And a lot of people are really blind to that. Like, oh nah, he released a good song, that's why he's number one. Even with Not Like Us, people are blind to the fact that, Drake was the reason why it won number one. It's a song about him for him, so it doesn't make any sense. Then people are like, oh, why didn't Drake do that for himself? Like, you gotta also keep in mind that Kendrick played it really, really smart. He released 3 songs back to back, basically, overshadowing whatever Drake released. Kendrick hasn't released any music recently. So he knows that, like, oh, if I put out 3 songs, people are gonna listen to it regardless because I'm not consistent with my work, but also because of the fact that he knows that there's more Drake haters than his own fans. That's gonna contribute to a lot. You know what I'm saying? But people are just being really biased to that. And I feel like that's what ASAP Rocky's trying to do too. Trying to use, his name just to get these songs a little bit up. Like I said, I don't know if ASAP's gonna keep dissing Drake on this album or if he's gonna keep mentioning him, but I feel like he should just release a project not involving anything because I feel like that's what people really want. I saw a lot of people on the internet pretty much just clown ASAP and say that these bars is trash, that it was kind of whack, that Drake killed them already. And I agree, Drake already killed them. So, like, there's really no point of keeping it going. I feel like that whole thing is just done. Even Drake himself, like, he keeps talking about it too. And, like, pretty much bringing it up, and I feel like it's already done with. So just leave it how it is, you know? We'll see what happens. It doesn't really make too much sense to me. See, I didn't want to start this whole news thing with Megan because I already know she started a lot of these beefs, but like I said, next, we got news regarding Ice Spice and Cleopatra. So this is like a whole thing, and honestly, like, I feel like this doesn't really help Ice Spice's image. I don't think this does a lot for her. You know, it kind of just solidifies what her other friend was saying about her and how she has mean girl energy. So Cleo pretty much went on social media to basically speak about her experiences with Ice Spice on tour. She said that Ice was giving mean girl energy and she explains why they fell out. She said that Ice believes everybody is below her, that Ice's team didn't want to help Cleo wear her bags, considering that they did not allow her to bring anybody on tour, which is crazy to me. Like, why would you not let her bring like anybody she wants, like even people from her team, you know, like that's kind of weird. Like, how is she gonna get people to help her if her team isn't involved? You know what I'm saying? Then Cleo also spoke about how it was with Ice on tour, that she's boring, that even when it came to food or hotel, there was an issue. Ice then said that Cleo felt entitled to having her team help her. You know, she went on social media and said that despite, you know, Cleo not having any assistance because your team basically told her you can't bring anybody with you. Cleo then said that Ice Spice had thought that like she sent another rapper to jump her, which is funny as hell that Ice Spice was shook and scared that she pretty much was just looking for that issue and that it turned out to be just a mother and her child, I think. That's what I hate about like artists nowadays, like men and women. They make these songs that, you know, make them feel like they portray like an image, and I don't think anybody's image is real except for like Future, maybe Lil Baby, Gunna, you know, and a couple other artists. But I don't think anybody's really as tough as they say. Cleo also claimed that Ice Spice's dad isn't Nigerian, but he's Hispanic. Ice Spice's dad pretty much said that was cap, you know, like the next like hour or so. I thought that was just random as hell. Random fact. Even Ice's manager made a few comments about the whole issue, and I kind of thought it was a little too weird when I was reading it. You know, it doesn't really sound too professional. Pretty much, he said that entitlement and ego is crazy, that an artist and their team, that they need to know what to do when these opportunities come their way. They need to know how to leverage it to advance the artist's career. And then he says some artists don't know how to come out with hits, so they crash out and go on rants. I don't know why he said that. I feel like that doesn't really make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense because the next thing he says is that if any bigger artist hits my clients and asks them to come on tour, you know, that he's gonna have them ready, or he's gonna advise them that it's a little too risky, you know what I'm saying? And he was responding to people on social media, and somebody had said that it's insane to me because, you know, they literally asked what was needed from her and nobody said anything. And then he said two artists can't speak on logistic and business and agree on it the same day without proper presentation, you know, representation, and that management needed to advise their client, you know, ahead of time to avoid any hiccups. But mind you, you're management. You're talking about yourself. And the fact that you didn't have this conversation with her team and let her know or her team know, and the fact that you knew that Ice Spice had a conversation with Cleo Trappa, you know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, about this whole situation, and you're just saying this, makes you look bad as a manager because you're not supposed to have your artist have this conversation with another artist unless like their team is a part of it, you know, unless everybody knows. You can't just be like, yeah, you know, like you can't just let her say, yeah, I'm gonna just ask her to come and you be like, okay, cool. No, like you just going against everything you just said and it's not looking good for you. That's kind of dumb. There was also somebody that replied to him that says, hold Ice Spice accountable. You know, why did you let your artist speak to her and invite her if she can't speak on logistics? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of shit just makes him look bad as a manager. And you look real messy doing all this shit. And somebody even said, y'all gave her one day to prepare. And she said, we gave her an opportunity to showcase her talent to an all age crowd. But if you knew it was last minute and if you knew it was the day of, it kind of just shows that you really aimed for this on purpose and should have planned out better on your side instead of letting somebody just invite her to come knowing that it's last minute, and how he just spun that around and tried to make himself look good and his team was not working out. It was very shady. I didn't like it too much, and I know a lot of other people don't like it. He even states that Cleo's manager, you know, is in the wrong, that he said that her manager was wrong, you know, that he pushed her to stay, but it's 100% the manager's fault. But, you know, like, if you know that it was the day of or the day before, why would you even ask? You know what I'm saying? Like, Ice Spice had all these other artists come out on some of her tour stops already. So why would you ask somebody last minute regardless, knowing that it's not a good look and that it's gonna cause issues. You kind of just brought that onto yourself. So I don't really feel that it's that manager's fault 100%. Some of it lies within you too, and your team and your artist. So y'all gotta take accountability for that as well. And then he keeps talking about an artist could mistakenly misspeak and everything, but you gotta keep in mind your artist did the same thing. Like I'm gonna just keep going back and forth, but I'm gonna just cut this shit right here, like about him. It just doesn't make sense, and I feel like as a manager, you kind of just took an L. I see that he's trying to make his team and his artists look better, but it's not working. And then, I Spy, she kind of just shades Cleotrapa on social media, doing polls about whatever. Like, it was very childish, very shady. I didn't like that. That's a conversation they both could have had. And Cleotrapa did approach her as a friend, like, hey, this, and that, but Ice Spice wasn't having it. And I don't know, it was kind of weird. Even Capella Gray, like, he got involved and said that as an artist, you got to be ready. A lot of the industry people are quiet and that it's hard to sympathize with this. I mean, I understand that too. As an artist, you do have to be ready, but you have to keep in mind that, like, they did not give her any time to really do anything and didn't allow her to do certain things. That was already there. So it's kind of weird, but I get where Capella Gray's coming from, but I don't think it's kind of like the same situation. You even got Azalea Banks, like, she said she's gonna take out Cleotrapa to one of her shows on Halloween, and that she's gonna be paid, and that she's gonna pay for whatever she needs, and she's gonna give her whatever she needs because she has respect in class. I thought that was funny as fuck. But this whole situation is just weird. Even Ice's ex friend, Baby Stormy, or Baby Storm, however you say her name, she came out and was like, I tried to warn you, but you threatened to beat me up. And she still apologized for what she went through. Cleotrapa responded, of course, and said whatever she said, and then she said thank you. But the second time that somebody said the same thing about Ice Spice, Cleo even said that Ice Spice was body shaming her. That shit is crazy. And I thought it was very, disrespectful. I thought it was weird. Ice Spice really is given this kind of energy, and she seems to have this mean girl energy. I don't know. It's like a really bad look professionally, too, especially with her team. It's kind of weird how everything just went. Your music isn't really too great like that, but I guess she has the right to be gassed up because she did blow up really fast. But I don't know, like, you gotta be humble as fuck too, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be like having a big ass fucking ego everywhere. Sooner or later, she'll probably learn that, or maybe she'll get her karma. But hopefully Cleo gets all that shit sorted out and just learns from this, and maybe they could be friends again, or maybe they could have an actual conversation like adults. But after that, we just got one more piece of news that's gonna just pretty much end the episode right now. I didn't want to end it this way, but it's something important. A few days ago, Rich Homie Quan passed away from an alleged overdose. It's very sad to hear. To think it's crazy how many artists we've lost within the past couple of years, and it's ridiculous. Like, things just keep happening left and right to them, and it's really crazy. It's a lot of people that were like really big and had a good run in like the early like 2010s and stuff, or even recently are artists that just came out in the second half of the 2010s, and it's crazy, and it really sucks, and stuff like that is unexpected, and it's always going to be a loss for rap, hip hop, all of that. He had a great run in the early 2010s. Even some songs now and some features now like were fire, and it's really a loss. And as an artist, he helped solidify music now, and rap with his style and his sound. Prayers for his loved ones. Rest in peace. And hopefully this just brings more awareness to a lot of these artists nowadays to just be more careful. Like I said, rest in peace. And on that note, that brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you guys for listening. I know I just went on a whole like ran and rambled on a few times, but thank you for listening. Please go stream all my other episodes. Follow me on socials, like and subscribe. Follow me on your streaming services, like and subscribe as well. And I hope you guys have a great week.